All right, guys, we're at the first water crossing of the Mojave Road. A little bit nervous. We haven't crossed anything like this yet, but here we go. Well, that was easy.
Have you ever driven the long, boring stretch of highway from Las Vegas to Los Angeles? Looked out into the desert that stretches endlessly on either side of I-15 and thought, there has got to be a better way. Well, with a 4x4 vehicle and a sense of adventure, you can travel that same route on dirt using the historic and highly scenic Mojave Road. Lose the highway traffic and join us for a 2-day overland adventure through the Mojave Desert. I'm Katie.
And I'm Cole. And together, we're No Roads Adventure Company.
The Mojave Road is 138 miles, traditionally traveled from east to west. It was first made by the Mojave Indians and later used by pioneers and gold miners.
We leave from our base camp in Los Angeles and head off for the start of the Mojave Road near Bullhead City, Arizona. The road officially begins at the Colorado River and winds from one water source to the next, each roughly 60 miles apart. Starting off the trip, Colorado River on one side, farmland in the mountains on the other. Headed into town to refuel before we head to our campsite for tonight. We're at the start of the Mojave Road off of Needles Highway. Got a lead nav running. Let's get it started. We're at roughly 50 feet of elevation, and the temperature, even just after sunrise, is already 107 degrees. We clean up our camp and get ready to start the day.
The Mojave Road is unique because the route you travel today and the sights you encounter are almost identical to what 19th century travelers would have seen. There has been almost no development in the area. Traveling the Mojave Road feels like traveling back in time.
The road was most heavily used as a wagon trail from the 1860s to the 1880s. But once a railway to the south was completed, most travelers opted for the easier route. The first major landmark, and also the next documented water source after the Colorado River, is located at Fort Pichu.
This is a U.S. Army fort established in 1859 to protect travelers on the road from Indian ambush. This remote fort was lightly manned and abandoned for good in 1868.
The next section of the road deviates slightly from the original due to a large washout in April of 2016, but there is a 14-mile detour that will take you back to the Mojave Road as quickly as possible. The detour takes you to the Exchequer Mining District in the remains of the LisaRaye Mine, the largest of many mines in the area. These copper and gold mines are sealed off to protect the bats that live inside from the spread of white nose syndrome. Most of the mines in this area were in use from 1880 to 1915, with a few, such as the LisaRaye Mine, operating until 1945. One of the reasons it stayed in operation for so long is due to the trace amounts of vanadium found within. This is used in titanium alloys and is quite rare to find in California. The biggest Joshua Tree forest in the world.
Which is strange that it wouldn't be in Joshua Tree, but it's not. It's here.
We've been on this for about 10 miles now.
Yeah.
Just locked into this little wash, pinned in on either side by cactuses, Joshua trees. It's pretty cool. Overland enthusiasts have maintained the Mojave Road and contributed to its quirkiness for the 100 years since it fell out of official use. One of the community's favorite landmarks along the trail is the abandoned school bus. The origins of the bus are unclear, but it makes for a great stop to get out and explore. We stopped for lunch at the Burt Smith Rock House, named for the homesteader who lived here. Smith was a World War I veteran, sent to live here in hopes that the climate would heal his lungs from the effects of poison gas. He lived here from 1929 until his death in 1967.
I'm really hoping our visit here will heal our lungs from the effects of Los Angeles smog. So here we are, going through some serious ups and downs. What are these things called?
Whoops.
Whoops. We've got some whoops going on. It's like riding a horse a little bit. Oh, Jesus.
Works the core.
Getting a nice ab workout here.
I didn't know we needed a long travel trophy truck to drive the Mojave Road. Our next stop is the Mojave Desert Mailbox, where travelers leave notes and sign a guest book to prove they made it this far. Not far off the trail from the box is another overland oddity, the frogs. The origin of the frog collection is unclear, but we appreciate it anyways. We arrive at the more geologically interesting section of the road, where the sand has eroded enough to uncover lava rock and even a small lava tube which you can explore inside. At several points along the trail, the Mojave Road intersects with paved roads. It's easy to lose the trail in these portions, so be on the lookout for cairns to keep you on the right path.
Out here on the Mojave Road, there's lots of intersecting tracks, so you might not always know which one is the right one, but people have thought of that, and so they've left cairns. It might just look like a pile of rocks, and it is, but they're always going to be on your right as you're driving the Mojave Road. So anytime you're intersecting another road or another track, just look for the cairns, keep it on your right, and you'll know you're on the right way. The most fun and dramatic areas of the Mojave Road all lie on the western edge, starting with Soda Dry Lake Bed.
It's always important to check to make sure that the lake bed is actually dry, because in the wetter months it can become a muddy nightmare. Today it hasn't rained in a few months, so it's plenty hard to drive on, easy to drive on.
It's tradition on the Mojave Road to take a rock from one side of this dry lake bed and ferry it safely across to the other side and add it to Traveler's Monument, which is a very large cairn over there. After crossing the dry lake bed, the terrain gets extremely sandy. it becomes increasingly difficult to follow the road, even with the cairns. Thankfully, we were following a GPS track, as well as recording our own. Crossing under the train tracks means that we have arrived to the final section of the Mojave Road, Afton Canyon.
This beautiful canyon, dubbed the Grand Canyon of the Mojave, provides a scenic drive up the wash as we head to the final obstacle.
Alright, for real this time, we're at the water crossing. The alternative is to drive on a live train track, which is very unsafe and a very bad idea. I guess the other alternative is to turn around. But we're gonna check it out, walk into this water a bit, see how deep it is.
So when you come to a water crossing like this one, you always want to make sure that you walk it first. If you don't walk it, you can do really bad things. It's just impossible to know what's underwater, especially like this where it's murky and you can't see anything. So it's always important to step in it first.
The key to crossing deep water without a snorkel is to maintain a steady speed, one which creates a small wake in front of the vehicle, but not so fast that that wake breaks onto the hood.
When in doubt, walk it out.
So we just completed the water crossing. I was driving. I'm really proud of myself. That was honestly terrifying.
The Mojave Road was really fun. It's so many different biomes and different textures. It's got a little bit of everything. I thoroughly enjoyed the whole thing, but definitely this second half from the dry lake bed onwards, it's definitely my favorite.
Biggest thing I think I learned on this overland trip is that you can have the GPS tracks, you can have, previous people's journeys, but like roads move, especially in these desert environments. You have to pay attention.
After the crossing, you can continue on the Mojave Road for a few more miles or exit directly to the highway. We, of course, stuck it out to the end where we aired up and prepared to get back on pavement. The Mojave Road lived up to the hype with gorgeous scenery, quirky desert culture, and some great driving.
We're headed back to Los Angeles, so until next time, keep exploring.
We are No Roads Adventure Company, signing off. We made it. How do you feel?
Delirious. It's like, traffic is hard, guys. Don't move to LA. We don't need more people here. We need less people, less cars. It's bad. We made it.